Hey everybody, and welcome back to Sir, You Look Tired. I hope you've been enjoying the episodes. I'm here again with Martin today, and we're super excited for today's episode. We're going to be talking about the amazing, wink, we're okay, Ofsted. Ofsted. And just, what life is like when they come into school. But then for me, it's the anticipation. My whole career has been waiting for Ofsted. My first school, I joined as an NQT. They had just had Ofsted like a couple of years before. They got RI. Every staff meeting, we're waiting for the call. We're waiting for the call. We got the call. School got RI, blah, blah, blah. And then the next time, waiting for Ofsted, waiting for same school, we got the call. Moved to a different school, waiting for the call. Moved to a different school after that, waiting for the call. So I spent half the time waiting for the call. Yeah. And it's waiting on a Wednesday. When that Wednesday at lunchtime has passed, we've made it to another week. We're absolutely fine. But, online and in the media, you see lots of things about Ofsted and the stress that it causes, the unnecessary paperwork that comes from it, and just, how people's day-to-day lives at work can be shaped waiting for them. So how many times have you had Ofsted?
So I've had it twice. Mm-hmm. And I think what's interesting, well, it's exactly what you just said then. Even like once you're done with Ofsted, straight away it's like, right, we've got to get ready for Ofsted. Mm-hmm. And it is, isn't it? It's a constant countdown to it. And I just think it's so draining. It's so exhausting. And to me, it's just pointless. I don't know another job where people get checked on and scrutinized as much. And none of it's about the kids.
No.
And I think the perfect example about it is the first Ofsted I went into. I'd only been at the school, term, maybe 2. Whenever the SATs results come out, that's how long I'd been there that year. Up until that point, we had Ofsted like a week after. In fact, I know when it was. It was the Easter, I remember, because the head we had the head up until Easter. She retired and the deputy took over, and he's probably still got it. He's got, at the time, he had the record, and there's no way it's ever going to be beat, of the fastest Ofsted ever. So he officially took over the first day back after Easter at like 8 a.m. And at 1 minute past 8, the phone rang and he picked the phone up and said, hello. And he said, we're just letting you know we'll be in tomorrow.
His first day as a head teacher.
His first day as a head teacher. He was acting head.
New stationery.
But
here we go.
But the reason they came in for that Ofsted was basically the children who just left in year 6 hadn't made enough progress. So their year 2 SATs results didn't line up with the year 6 SATs results. Mm-hmm. But it was a weird year. So something like 20 children had left, 25 children had come in. It was a different set of kids. Mm-hmm. But the Ofsted inspector for 2 days didn't want to know anything. She walked through the school. The first word she said to the head and deputy was, good morning, just to let you know, this is going to be requires improvement. She hadn't looked at any lessons. She hadn't looked at any books. She hadn't had any meetings. She'd already decided that. She went into the entire thing with this requires improvement. We got to the end of the second day and it was still requires improvement. And I remember the head telling us afterwards, he said, she was basically explaining all the things which are going to happen now that it requires improvement. She was going through it all like foregone conclusion, you are requires improvement. This is how requires improvement works. And she asked for a child's book. And the head said, oh, he's not here anymore, because she had all the year 2 like things. And she went, oh, what about such and such? And he was like, they're not here anymore. He was just like, what about such and such? He said, they're not here anymore. And she went, oh, I see what you've been trying to tell me. These are actually different children, aren't they? And he went, yeah. And she went, oh, everything I've seen, this is a good school then. We'll rate it good. Now, they come in and did a 2-day inspection that day, put tons of stress on us all. Everyone's scrutinised on absolutely everything. She'd already made a predetermined thing just on results, which I think is pointless anyway,
Mm-hmm.
because you can't control the external factors in the child's life. You can't control how much information they're going to take in, their attention, everything like that, which factors into that result. It shouldn't be the be all and end all, but it's the fact that you go through all those loopholes anyway when they're making it on that. And to me, I think that was my first Ofsted experience, but it was my first like, oh, this system's a bit broken.
And this is how it works.
Yeah.
It's a game.
I think Ofsted, it is mad, and we all know it's mad. And I think we could go into depth and detail about how pointless it is. But to me, I think it's more important to look at like how to survive it and get through some of the myths. Like we talked about in a different episode, like display boards. You've had people come in and measure the displays and be like, that's not level, this there. Was it that you forgot to put display lettering up one time and Ofsted were in and they didn't care?
I didn't put a banner, like a display lettering at all. I'd just forgotten because I had no time. Like we got the call the day before and I was SLT. This was 2023. Was it? Yeah, January 2023. We just come back after Christmas. And, there's still tinsel about. I've not tidied it away. And I was in that meeting all day long. The call went on forever. And I'll drop a little secret. Listen to this. So the head teacher's on the call. It's on auto speak, not auto, what's it called? Loudspeaker.
Yeah.
We're all in the background, zip SLT. And when she's been asked questions, we're jotting down some answers and putting them on whiteboards. Just asking questions about the school. And she might not have all the details in her head. So we're like, oh, do we have that? Oh, yeah. And so that's all happened. But we're in there all day. And then we're putting together like a plan of action in the afternoon. I don't get back to my classroom until the end of the day. And I say to my team, just keep everything as is. There's no point in changing anything now. It's fine. Comes along the next day, they're in observing. And as I'm teaching, I look around and I see the display board with no lettering on at all. And there's tinsel in the corner. And I'm like, oh my God, this is it. It's all going to, and no matter how well I teach now, it's all going to fall apart. Didn't notice, didn't care. And when I had my interview with him, I brought my little EYFS folder with me with all my documents in. Didn't want to look at it at all. I happened to at the end say, do you want to have a look? And he's like, no, didn't see any planning, didn't look at any of my data or whatever. They had obviously data given to them.
Yeah.
Didn't ask me anything about it. Didn't ask me about the good level development in early years. Just asked me about my action plan that I've been doing and the team itself. And that was my last Ofsted, so that was 2023. I still went to the gym the night before. Whereas the time I had Ofsted before that, we didn't leave school till midnight. I was back in at 6 o'clock. I was stressed to the eyeballs. I was eating God knows what. It was horrible. Whereas this time I thought, I'm just going to keep things as it is. The kids will rat us out anyway. That's new. No, it's not. Stop it. All these new pencils are out, like glue sticks. And I think I just kept myself calm and said, what will be, will be. Because this is an honest picture. I'd rather know if I'm not doing a good job.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to play the game. You have to do certain things. But what I've started to do recently is I'm not going to do something just because people think it might be good for Ofsted.
No, and do you know what? And I think that's a really important thing with it. Like Ofsted, you can have, a bit like we talked about head teachers, you can have nightmare head teachers. And to be honest with you, with Ofsted, I find it odd that anyone wants to be an Ofsted inspector.
I'm friends with an ex-Ofsted inspector. When she told me that she was an Ofsted inspector, I was like, get out.
but they're not all out to get people. And I think that's the thing of like, I think sometimes the myth of Ofsted is worse than actual Ofsted. Even when you're talking about like you'll celebrate on a Wednesday that you don't get the call. I think sometimes it's quite funny that like, even though we'll celebrate that we don't want the call, at least sometimes it's better to get the call. If you're ready to go, just have it. Just have it. You might not want it. It's going to be a pretty rubbish 2 days. Or is it 2 days now or one? They always keep changing it, don't they?
We had 2 days. So there's the day you get the call, then it happens, and then it happens the next day. And then you've got the month to get over it afterwards. I need a month.
We had a 2 day and then they changed it for our second one to a 1 day. But it was just like the routine of Ofsted at that time. They decided that it was some mad one which made me laugh. So our first one was 2 days with 2 inspectors.
Mm-hmm.
And then our second one was 1 day with 1 inspector. We got a good on it, so everyone was happy. But I'm pretty sure if it was either requires improvement or outstanding, that Ofsted inspector would have to trigger it. So they would say, I think this school is outstanding, or I think this school requires improvement. I will be back here tomorrow with another inspector, because they were trying to like reduce it and avoid. We were all made up. We got good. I think the head was good. I think he wanted outstanding, but we were all like, thank God it's
good
over.
to Mason.
Thank God it's over in 1 day. Or to me, it's that myth with it. Like sometimes it's about ripping the Band-Aid off. You know, everyone gets obsessed with planning with Ofsted. Can't look at your planning. You know, everyone gets obsessed with lesson plans, like being left out for them when they can't see it. Everyone gets obsessed with the borders looking right and the being tidy and how it is this and how it is that. Most of them want to see you teach. Most of them want to have a chat with curriculum leads. As you said, you had a big folder there, didn't even want to look at it. Want to have a chat with you. And I think that's the big one. I think it comes down to Ofsted. I think you have to be careful around Ofsted because Ofsted is horrible and it's disgusting and it shouldn't be there. But I think quite a lot of the fears sometimes comes from teachers not backing themselves. Where if a teacher backed themselves as, I'm a good teacher and I know if they come in here and see this, they're going to be like, oh, okay, they're all right.
That's what I told myself. I was like, I've got this. I actually wore it. It was PE day. They didn't come. They did see me teach PE. And it's the first time I ever had less than objective on the screen. That's the one thing I did do is I just put it on with widgets. It was early years. And underneath my zip up thing, I had a Spice Girls t-shirt. And I said to myself, I'm going to embrace this part. I've got it under here. They're not going to take this away from me. And I said to my team, you are amazing. Just be yourself and it will be okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think if you back yourself, you're going to be confident. You're not going to stress as much. And I think it's just get rid of that show for Ofsted. I think a lot of the stuff that gets done where people stay till midnight and they do all these things, it's to try and catch up or to try and tweak the things that almost you could challenge Ofsted on. Why haven't you done this? What time got to do that? Do you know, like, it's your fault as a government in a system, not us.
Yeah.
And that's the big one for me. I think the more you're doing stuff like living your more authentic self while they're in, the better it is. It's a big one for me.
And because I felt like I was just being how a normal day is, I was able to just teach when they were in. I wasn't worried about, oh my goodness, you know, I've changed this or I've done that or I've rewritten the entire day. Because it was just how it usually is. I felt way more relaxed. And the day went fine. Like, I watched my phonics. 3 children's pens went down, the whiteboard pens. Normally, like, that wouldn't get to me at all. But that was the only time I was like, oh no. But it was absolutely fine because I had some spares on the side. And that's life.
Oh, yeah.
It is life. And like, there was what they say, don't work with animals or children. And like, you can't predict what they're going to say. You can't predict what they're going to do. Like, during the lesson, another girl just starts crying. What's wrong? I miss my mommy. I miss mine too. You know, it's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's just showing that you can deal with that. I think what's important with it is knowing that it's going to be draining, it's going to be tough, it's going to be a bit of a nightmare. But what's important with it is to look after yourself in it. So don't stay up till all hours working, no matter how tempting it is, because the best resource in the class is you. But also acknowledge, because I remember speaking to you after your last Ofsted, and as you said, you didn't stay late. You did your normal lessons. You didn't put anything extra in. But I remember speaking to you just after it, and you were like, oh, I felt like ill afterwards because I was so drained. And I remember you saying that you regretted not taking time off after it, not like phoning sick, but like having rested that weekend and not going to the gym the night after it and stuff like that, because your body was under, even if you didn't do extra work, your body was under more stress still. It is traumatic.
Like, even though if the old version of me went through that again with how bad I was with work-life balance and energy, it would have been a way worse. And that's me with a good work-life balance, going to the gym, eating healthily, going to bed early the night before. I, ended it with feeling, you're tense. Your body's tense the entire time. We're waiting for the result. You know, the rest of our school got RA. I got good in early years. But it's like, what's that? The tail of what was left behind. I saw it in other people. Like everyone it was like I was at a wake. Everyone was just done. And no one was having movies on Thursday, Friday. It was like, right, okay, what's next? Let's work on the improvement points. And I was like, oh my goodness.
I think that's one of the biggest mistakes. And again, it's quite funny. The first Ofsted I was in, like, I'm a big believer in the head setting the example and stuff like that. And I've said, like, after that first one, that was the only time that you ever really talked about taking work home. And it was to stop us to say, no one's taking any work home this weekend. But what I thought was really interesting as well, quite funny, was, again, our head, he'd only been in the job like 2-3 days at the time. But on the Friday, so those 2-3 days were just all Ofsted. On the Friday, I remember thinking, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. Do you know what? The kids said, well, we'll do maths and English. I'm putting a movie on for the afternoon. I never did, because we did the register at 9. We went for the morning assembly at 9:15 till like 10:15. And then the head said to everyone, oh, we normally went out for break about 10:30. Said, oh, I'm going to take everyone out. I've told the kids, if they did so well, I'm going to take them all out for a bit of an early play at 10 o'clock. So just have 15 minutes with them and then get them all ready. We're like, okay. He kept all the kids out from 10 till 3:15.
Oh, all day.
He just kept all the kids out. They just went in for their lunch, and then that was it.
Mm-hmm.
That was
That's
all
amazing.
he did. And looking back, it was amazing because we just chilled and chatted and talked and decompressed. And obviously, every school can't do that.
No.
But I think it should be a almost unwritten rule that, like, do you know what? We've done really well.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to do anything now. We're going to have a chill day because the kids aren't going to do anything for one day. Let's have a chill. Let's have a rest. Then we'll get back into it next week. Tell all the staff not to do anything at the weekend and just relax.
Yeah, and that's coming from him above, which is what
and
you
that
need.
come from that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the big thing with it. Like, the more I think that can come from above, but everyone can get into their own heads as well. I know Ofsted's going to be tough. I know it's going to be draining.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to work myself into the ground before it, but I'm also going to give myself permission to just blob after it.
Yes.
And that's the important bit. The night of chill. The next day, do nothing. The weekend, do nothing and get yourself ready. Otherwise, you're going to get ill. You're going to get stressed. You're going to feel like just not wanting to be there because you haven't given yourself that time to recover. You ran a marathon. You couldn't have trained the day after your marathon, could you?
Oh, no, I could barely walk.
and Ofsted is like the marathon of teaching. It's the most intense time, even if you keep it as normal as you.
It was still intense, yeah.
You're still getting questioned. You're still having to think on the spot. You're still having to get pulled into meetings where you don't know what's going to come.
Mm-hmm.
The stress levels are high. The adrenaline's high. Afterwards, you need that time to chill. And I don't think... And it is talked so much about how evil Ofsted is, how horrible it is, how like tough it is. But no one ever talks about the aftermath of it. It's like, what was your result? Good or bad? Yeah, okay, good. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
It should be, okay, let's chill now. Hey, today, stick movies on for them all day. Hey, someone take them out for extra play. Do you know, like, it should be that thing of like, you've just gone through this. Now we'll do this.
Even if you don't do well, say if you get the result that you're not hoping for, I think it's even more important because everyone's going to be really feeling it.
Yeah.
It's like you take it personal as well and people will be feeling not good enough. So it's about being like, how can we help people?
And let's be honest, like I've worked in supply in schools that requires improvements. Obviously you were in a school where it was requires improvements at the end. Like, it's mad the level of scrutiny you then go under. I don't know what it was like in the school you were in, but I used to do supply when I first started out, 2 days a week in a school. And I was only in for supply on those 2 days a week because of how much stuff they had to do. So it wasn't PPA time that I was covering. I was covering time that they had to have the teachers out of the class, because that week, in 6 weeks' time, Ofsted were coming in to do a maths inspection, just focusing on maths, and all the maths displays had to be on point. All the maths planning had to be right. All the books needed to be. So those teachers had to have time out of class on top of the PPA to make sure that the maths was on point. Then once that was done, English. After that, science. After that, PE. So,
and it's unrealistic.
Yeah. So to me, like, if you require improvement, even if you don't personally feel gutted and drained, which you're gonna, you know that you've got this horrible thing coming. So you need it. Yeah, you need it even more.
Mocksteads.
Oh,
why would you do that? Fake Ofsteds. I've had loads of them, and I got to that when I was burnt out. I got really attitude with it. I'm not doing this. This is awful. This is fake, anyways. It doesn't matter. And it was real. I got really annoyed about it, because why would you do that to people? Next week we're having a Mockstead, so get ready.
Do you know what though? I think what sums up Mocksteads the most is, I know someone who told me they were in a school where the deputy was teaching. The deputy was teaching, and the head had hired someone to be like their Mockstead inspector. And then he was going to work with them and do all these things. And he watched everyone's lessons. And he said that everyone in the school was outstanding apart from the deputy. And he didn't like how the deputy teached. And he wanted the deputy to go on special courses to change everything. The next year, the deputy in the school became the head. And he sacked that Ofsted mock inspector, and he got in a different mock inspector who liked his style, and then got everyone else to change their style.
You're sacked.
But he got everyone else to change their style to match his. And it was that thing of like, that Mockstead inspector had just gone in with how they like to teach and said everything else was rubbish. And then afterwards, the other head, the new head, had got someone else in to match how he liked, which was off, and it had all changed. And it was that thing of like, they're so pointless. They don't know what Ofsted wants.
No.
Ofsted is so done on opinion anyway.
Yeah. It's so of the moment of who you get on the day.
I know one school where the inspector, they had to get like basically one of the heads of Ofsted in, because she'd made this school requires improvement, because she had gone on a course for Ofsted inspectors and misinterpreted it, and then made them a requires improvement school because of the misinterpretation that she got. And they had to go to like one of the top Ofsted people and be like, you need to come in and look at this. And they had a meeting together and she was arguing points, and the Ofsted inspector was like, no, that's not right. And they had to do it that way. And it was mad. It was mad. That idea that like, it's all done on someone's opinion. And that was the big thing with it.
So, the last Ofsted I had, I was really nervous during the entire 45-minute meeting. I was like, if I can just get through these 45 minutes, life will be good again. It's like having toothache. I couldn't remember what life was like without the meeting coming up. But like, I went through the meeting, walked them around our earlier. But what I did was, I said, and I've said the whole time, I'm just going to be completely honest. This is what will I see when I go down there? And I knew we were on a journey as a team. And I said, when we go down, you will see adults who, are still working on X, Y, Z. He went, okay. He said, that's honest of you. Went down. What did he see? Exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Came back up again. And he was like, yep. If you had have covered that up, we were working on questioning skills from the adults. And because in early years they're in the provision. He said, yeah, I see where you are. He's like, but you're on a journey and that's good. He said that and then we went upstairs and he started typing up the feedback. What passed another display, by the way, that was half done. And I was like, and then we got upstairs and he started typing up the feedback, which was all great. And I burst into tears. And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry, but this is this is good stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, no, you're not upsetting me. It's just I've been building this up at the same time as building myself back from burnout. And he was like, oh, wow. And then I showed him a couple of pictures on my phone. I was like, this is me before. And then I got really emotional. And he was like, no, but you know, you've done a really good job down there. I was the Ofsted inspector the last time I was here. I'm like, nobody told me that. And I've seen the changes that you put in place. And that was just such a nice experience. And it made me reflect on the last 2 times I had them when I literally made myself go out of my own head with worry.
Yeah.
But I wish I had taken the time afterwards to let myself stop, take it all in, refresh myself for at least 2 days and then go again. Because then it meant I could have helped other people because the rest of the school got RI, help them with their recovery from it afterwards. Because it really affects a lot of people's confidence then afterwards. Like, I'm not good enough.
100%. Yeah. And I always think it's quite funny. In early years, obviously you got good.
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember we were a 1-form entry. And I remember the early years teacher saying like, she got good in it. It was all perfect. But she was super stressed because she was the only teacher. So when the reports come out, it said some of the teaching was outstanding. Some of the teaching requires improvement. No one didn't know who it was. But in hers, whatever they said it was, not just us as a staff, other parents. It said,
that's what I was worried about.
Yeah, if it said in early years the teaching requires improvement, every parent would know.
Yeah,
and all the children in reception, all their parents would only look at that part of the report anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, like, so there is that added pressure, I think, in early years, but there's just that pressure overall with it all, and it must have been stressful for you having that change, because obviously you changed completely how you done teacher life to be like, was it almost like oh God, like I might have to go back to how I used to be.
I was
like if this doesn't work.
I'm out. Everyone knows I'm out the door at 4:30.
Yeah.
Here. Everyone knows I've changed the plan and I've been given the chance to make it work. If this does not work, then I'm going to have to go, like you say, go back to how it was. And it'll be like, well, told you so. That's what you get for leaving at 4:30. That's what I thought the entire time.
Yeah.
And when I got that good, the reason why I cried is because I was like, I've made it
You've made
work.
that difference, haven't you? You've made that difference, you know, and obviously just all the school would have got good and stuff like that. But it almost even cemented it more, didn't it? Like, you've got good while doing that. Like, it doesn't matter how much you push yourself, how much you burn yourself out. It's all about having that confidence, having that belief in yourself, having the right structures and systems.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing with it, isn't it? Like, when it comes to Ofsted, everyone gets the demon more than like the actual what it is. And even though it's horrible, even though it should be scrapped, even though it's absolutely rubbish, we definitely work ourselves into a frenzy about it more. And I think that's the big one with it. Yeah, we're back after Seamus wants to be on the podcast.
Oh, bless.
Yeah, no. We were talking about the colouring system then, weren't we?
Yeah. So they don't help themselves, you know. Again, demonizing them. When I think about them in the past, I always thought of them like the Dementors and Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Here they come, authority cloaks, high heels, clipboards. And then now they were going to make the big change. This is it. This was their chance to be like, we're taking on everything you've said. We're all sitting on the edge of our seats. And out comes this color grading system with, it's going to be seen the same way as it always is. If you're a certain color, then we know that you're going to be RI. If you're up, I think it's blue, maybe that's outstanding or whatever it was. And I just think it's pointless. And they've wasted money on it.
Yeah. And I think what's annoying with all of it, and I think it's with everything like that, I think in the last couple of years, there's been so many places when change could happen. So, you know, when COVID happened, teaching changed. And rather than going, hey, this works, we've kind of got rid of the fluff in school, because let's be honest, in primary schools, they have to learn too much.
There's way too much.
Way too much. In COVID, kind of some of that got kind of scrapped because, well, we've just got to get it to the bare basics. Instead of going, do you know what? This kind of works better. Everyone's got a better work-life balance. The kids are still learning what they need to learn. Let's go through that. They went almost like, let's double down on more work because you missed out on that work. And even with this, with the Ofsted, like, there was a chance for them to change it. There was a chance. I don't think schools should be checked up. I don't. I think it should just be left to local authorities and schools to trust, just the trust that they're going to do it. Do you know, if a school just 1 year has everyone fail the SATs or everyone fail the GCSEs, send someone in and go, what's going on at the school? But it should be, we trust you to do it. And then if we had that trust, then it could filter down throughout the whole school. We trust you to do it. Where, as you say, you just got changed to a colour system. A little bit like they did with the GCSEs a couple of years ago. I don't understand it because
it's a number system now.
It's numbers now. It's
still
numbers.
the same thing.
I am convinced the only reason they did that was because so many people complain that GCSEs are getting easier now and this and blah, blah, blah. So now there's numbers, no one knows whether someone got a good or bad grade. They can't compare it. And it's the same with this. They just wanted a new system of comparing it.
It's like someone just took a dart, threw it somewhere. Where did it land? Oh, colours. Yeah, we're going to go with colours. I would have liked if they had created characters. That would have been much better. Like, your school is a this.
Had all the ones off Inside Out.
Yes. Your school is angry. Or different types of, I don't know. If I was going to do it, because literally they've just picked anything, I would have picked different types of pasta. You are penny. Fusil, I can't even say it, fusilli or whatever it is.
But it's just mad, isn't it? It's all, even like, I remember having a conversation where I was working in a school where red pen was banned. You weren't allowed to mark in red.
Banned.
You weren't allowed to mark in red because it had a negative impact on the children. You could only mark in green. And I remember saying, yeah, but surely like if we fast forward 10 years, all the kids are going to have that negative association with the green pen. And they were like, no. It was like, oh, okay.
No, they won't.
I guess they won't then. But it's that thing, isn't it? You know, like all of it's just people who aren't part of the classroom creating systems which never are going to work. And that's what Ofsted is. It's a way for people who aren't part of education to check up whether teachers are doing a good job. Why not just believe that they're going to do a good job? Who goes into teaching to be like, oh, scam these?
Yeah.
If you're not watching, I'll play movies all day.
Yeah, I'm doing nothing today. Or the other thing that gets to me is that when I have someone who has never taught primary school or has nothing to do, secondary school Ofsted inspector in early years.
Oh, it's mad.
And they're like, what's going on over here? And I one time got them out to the mud kitchen, this lady in high heels. And she was like, oh, I've only ever taught secondary before. What's this? And they're out in the mud kitchen. Oh, we're having fun outside in the mud kitchen.
No matter what, you are going to fail that inspection because they don't know what's going on.
I think it's just chaos, which it is organized chaos in early years.
But as well, I know it sounds stupid because they are learning a lot of things. But if you've got no training, you go into early years and go, they're not doing anything. So then,
what is this?
What's the learning? Well, it requires improvement because they don't learn anything down there. Do you know what I mean? Like, and especially, I think the rest of school can be kind of interesting because education has stayed the same, I would say, since the start.
Yeah.
But reception is completely different to when we were in reception.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember sitting at a desk and doing work in reception. Where now it's not as much that structured, is it? It's funny that the rest of the school, they haven't leaned in and let it filter up. Which they should. But so you can have someone who's not only now had any experience of teaching reception, deciding, but it hasn't even had the experience of like being in that setting as a child.
No.
And they're going to decide, even though they've got no experience with it.
I could just imagine them walking into places I've been recently going, right. Chaos.
Well, could you imagine one of us going to try and grade where their A-level children were?
I wouldn't even know.
Doing right.
I feel intimidated walking into the room with these tall children. Well, are they tall children? Yeah, I assume they are. Yeah, I think you're a child until you're 18. I could not go on grade A level, watch an A level lesson.
And then decide whether it was good or not.
Yeah, I've sat in a secondary school classroom. I don't know when it was, but and then I was judging the basic displays, but they don't need to do big displays. And I just was sitting there and going, "Where's all the color?" Because I'm just used to primary school, but I couldn't do it. So having them down our end, there's no point.
That's it with it. It's just, I think it's got to be based that way. It's got to be the right inspection, but most of all, it just needs no inspection.
Yeah,
it just needs,
get rid of them.
It just needs that trust for teachers, that teachers aren't going to try and hoodwink everyone, that teachers haven't gone into it to just scam a profession.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got to have that trust of like listening. I think rather than having Ofsted and rather than having the education department and everything the way it is, it should be, I think the education department should be a bit more like a branch of the civil service.
Mm-hmm.
So it shouldn't be able to be used part of politics.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Which it majorly is.
Which it is. It should be instead like, okay, we're going to get top teachers and heads in. They're going to be the people who kind of come up with how we're going to do things.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to use this to look at studies and data and everything. Before we started teaching, there was already research and papers that said that marking is pointless. Since then, more marking has gone in the books.
Mm-hmm. Even writing VF for verbal feedback.
Yeah.
Well, I don't trust that you've done this. So you need to write VF in a blue pen so we know. We can. The reason why we do it in blue pen is so we can do this, flick quickly and see that VF is in there.
I still, one of the maddest marking I ever saw, and I remember just thinking like, oh, I couldn't work at that school, was we had to do like a group book scrutiny. So we had like 6 schools that we were partnered with. All the 6 schools to get together and we'd share, like compare writing and kind of moderate together. And one of the teachers, like he opened his book and I was like, what's that? And he had a ladder at the end of every piece of work. There was a ladder. Mm-hmm. He drew a ladder. And I was like, is it? And he was like, oh, so for every child, I have to assess their work. And the ladder shows the progress where they're on.
Right.
So in every book, you had to draw, not ladder, steps.
Uh-huh.
You had to draw these steps going up. And on each step, he had to write an objective that was either met or the next steps. And then he had to draw someone on a step for the last one they ticked off and what he wanted them to do. And I was like, how long does that take you? And he was like, oh, it's a long time. It's like 10 minutes per person.
I bet he gets judged on his drawing of steps.
But I remember thinking like, that's mad.
That's crazy.
Like marking and feedback and Ofsted, it all seems to be what's the most out there creative way to do it, rather than going, we actually need.
Do we need to do this?
We need to have trust. We need to scrap judgments. We need to make sure that schools have the right support in place. And the only judgments that really should be in school is someone going in and going, what's this school lacking?
Mm-hmm.
Like, can we see your books? Oh, why don't you do any colouring? We don't have any coloured pencils.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we need to get you some coloured pencils. Mm-hmm. Let's look at this lesson. Why don't you do it like this? You know, we don't have we don't have iPads. We've only got one set of iPads between the school. Okay, we should get some more iPads. Mm-hmm. That should be the only thing for a school. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't be grading the teachers teaching. It shouldn't be grading their marking. It shouldn't be grading anything else, because no one goes into a doctor's surgery and sits in the corner and says, well, I don't think the way you spoke to the patient was good.
The receptionist
well,
on the phone.
Yeah. All of it should be, Ofsted should be taken away and it should be replaced with something which gives positive feedback, not just swaps for like where, oh, we're looking at a colour.
Yeah.
Like, it's mad. I just think the whole thing's nuts, and it's just there to destroy teachers' confidence, basically. But we need to have it where a point where, as we were talking about before, we know it destroys your confidence. Mm-hmm. We know it's going to drain you. Protect yourself by not going to these streams, because most Ofsted inspectors don't want it and they can't ask for it. They can't ask for your planning. Can't ask for all these things. They can't ask to go and look in your school cupboard. You don't want them to see something, go and hide it.
Put a curtain over it.
That was always our advice from our head.
Mm-hmm.
He always used to remind us, if you don't want them to see something, they are not allowed to go in your cupboard.
Oh, I'm glad. My cupboard was never tidy. My storeroom was a mess.
It's an actual Ofsted rule, though. They're not allowed in your cupboard.
Are they allowed in the staff room?
Nope.
Oh, are they not?
You know, he used to say as well, if it's too big, put it in the staff room. Like,
get them out.
But all of it, like, to me, it's that thing of knowing, like, it's going to be draining. It's going to be ringy. There's rules. Know your rules and protect yourself afterwards by giving yourself that rest day, giving yourself that movie day afterwards to chill and relax. Like the perfect scenario, the big Ofsted are gone.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Yeah. So just try and survive it.
Try and survive it and just give yourself that break with it. I think that's the big one.
Yeah, I think so. Don't be so hard on yourself afterwards, because you can only control what you can.
Yeah.
And when you're going through it, do not throw the baby out with the bathwater and change everything, because you'll feel unsettled out of your own routine, and that just opens up more chance for something going wrong. Just be calm like me and just go with the flow.
That's it. And I think as long as you prep for it, as long as you prepare and not prepare the night before.
No.
Like, but I know you said that folder, I know they didn't use it, but you felt more confident with it.
Yeah.
And you just went on Facebook, didn't you? You went on Facebook, asked what questions people had asked, been asked.
Literally, there was the same questions.
Put a document together, didn't you, where you had all those notes. I think that's important. Like, give yourself that time. If you don't feel you've got that time, speak to your school about having that time. Because if you mention Ofsted, they're going to say, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you want time out of class, mention the word Ofsted, 100%. Stamp approved.
It'll get approved, and then just relax while you're there. Relax, give yourself that downtime, and just trust yourself as a teacher.
Believe in yourself.
But no, it's nice. I think we'll wrap it up there. I think we've covered a lot there.
We have. Yeah. This could be the Ofsted survival guide.
Yeah. It'll be good, that. But Seamus has interrupted a couple of times, so if it's a bit breaky, you know why. But no, enjoyed it. Anyone who's listening at home, give us a share, give it a like, give us a message, whatever. But hopefully it helps you just with one little bit. Gives you a little, it's not going to relax you with Ofsted. I was going to say it's going to relax you with it, but it's not. Hopefully it's going to give you a little bit of calm with it.
A little bit of hope that you can. And you will.
Yeah.
You will.
Oh, 100%.
We did.
Yeah.
3 times.
2 for me. But now, good, right? We'll wrap it up there then. Bye now.
Bye, everyone.